Hi there guys, I'm Nikhil from GreedyTech and this is a camera review of the OPPO F7. On the rear, this phone comes with a single 16 megapixel camera with f1.8 aperture and a single LED flash. On the front, it comes with a single 25 megapixel camera with Sony IMX576 sensor and f2.0 aperture. OPPO phones are usually known for their selfie camera, but even the rear camera on this phone is pretty good. To be more precise, software processing is very good. It supports Auto HDR and takes some amazing looking pictures. By the way, all these pictures were taken with Auto HDR. Even while capturing HDR pictures, capturing speeds were fast, which was really surprising. HDR images look really good. Colors really pop, but it looks like it's over processing the image. It looks good, but doesn't look natural. Images are a bit overexposed, so they look bright. Colors look vivid and saturated to a point where the image looks edited. These are some macro shots. I didn't have any issues with focusing and you get pretty good bokeh effect. This phone has a pretty impressive processor but still doesn't offer slow motion video recording and manual mode or professional mode for taking pictures. OPPO also has a mode called Super Vivid mode where colors look super saturated. On the left side we have the regular pictures and on the right side we have pictures taken with Super Vivid mode. And yes, they look kinda weird. Now coming to portrait mode, this phone has a single camera on the back but still offers us portrait mode. It is completely software based, so edge detection isn't good, but images are still usable. As everything is software based, we can also use Auto HDR while taking portrait shots and the results are pretty good. Portrait shots are not perfect, but they look pretty good. I still wish they had launched the OPPO F7 Plus instead of this phone. Now coming to low light performance, once again this phone overexposes the shot to make it a little bright. Color reproduction is good, but the images are soft. Even pictures taken with flash have good color reproduction, but it has a small issue with focusing. Capturing speeds are faster even in low lighting conditions, and it still manages to reduce the noise. At least there isn't any visible noise. Now coming to selfies, these are the sample shots. This phone supports Auto HDR even for the front camera, so all these pictures were taken with Auto HDR on. Selfies are slightly overexposed, but colors still look good. Selfies have good sharpness, good color reproduction, and good dynamic range. These are some selfies taken with HDR and without HDR side by side, and as you can see, there is a huge difference. So use Auto HDR while taking selfies all the time. By the way, capturing speeds are faster even for selfies taken with HDR on. Now coming to portrait selfies, here are the sample shots. Just like many other phones these days, OPPO F7 offers us portrait selfies just by using a single camera and software processing. So edge detection isn't perfect, but still better than the portrait mode on the rear camera. Unlike most phones, we can still use Auto HDR while taking portrait selfies. Most of the time we get good results, but sometimes we get a faded effect like this. This phone also offers AI beauty mode, and these are some sample shots. And yes, my face looks completely blown out. I didn't like it, so I turned it off completely. Now OPPO also offers us stickers, which simply adds stickers like this to your face, and they are pretty accurate. But when compared to the Vivo V9, stickers collection on this phone is very limited. we might get a few more with a future update. Now coming to low light performance, selfies in low light are overexposed to make them look bright. Color reproduction is good, even though colors are slightly to the warmer side. But like with any other phone, selfies are soft when zoomed in. Now these are some selfies taken in very low lighting conditions. This phone doesn't have a dedicated flash, so in low light, this phone uses the display as flash. Selfies look bright and my face looks blown out. And once again, selfies were soft. In good lighting conditions, it does take good pictures. By the way, color reproduction and capturing speeds were good even in very low lighting conditions. Now coming to video recording, this is the sample footage recorded using the rear camera at 1080p resolution. That's the maximum resolution supported by this phone. There is no 4K video recording on this phone, and this phone doesn't offer any electronic image stabilization or optical image stabilization, so the footage is very shaky. Now coming to the footage quality itself, colors look little saturated, dynamic range is good, and exposure control is really good. Now this is the footage recorded using the front camera. Once again, there is no stabilization, so the footage is shaky. Once again, there is no stabilization, so the footage is a bit shaky. Footage is slightly overexposed to make the subject look fair. Colors look saturated and exposure control is really good. Usually when there is a bright background, subject becomes dull. But on this phone, that didn't happen. So guys, to conclude, cameras on this phone are really good. Especially the front facing camera has no issues, except for the low lighting conditions where my face got blown out. If OPPO can tone down a little in the saturation level in the rear camera, it can take even better pictures. When compared to the Vivo V9, in my opinion, software processing on this phone is slightly better than Vivo V9. So in the camera department, for regular pictures, I would pick OPPO F7 instead of the Vivo V9. So guys, to conclude, cameras on this phone are definitely worth the price, but I still wish they had offered video stabilization and launched the OPPO F7 Plus instead of this phone. So guys, looking at the sample pictures, what do you think about the cameras on this phone? Do let me know by commenting below this video, and if you're planning to buy this phone, use the link in the description. It really helps the channel. If you want us to make any specific video, tweet out to us with the hashtag AskGreedyTech on Twitter and we will try to make it as soon as possible. I'm Nikhil from GreedyTech signing off. Have a nice day.